What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be looking at 5 cards that I believe may be undervalued. My intention with this video series is simple: to make you guys smarter sports card investor, buyers, and sellers. But for that, you need to be making good, well-informed decisions based off analysis and research and not just gut feeling and fandom. That's why we're using Market Movers today. In my opinion, it's the best data tool out there. If you're interested in checking out the software for yourself, I'll drop a 20% off promo code in the description. You can use it for both monthly and yearly subscriptions. Now, before we move on to the picks, I want to share a success story from last week. In that video, I talked about Julius Randle of the New York Knicks. I thought he was undervalued. I continue to think he's undervalued because his cards had dipped so much after the playoffs ended. I mean, he had such an amazing season, but then the Knicks got knocked out of the playoffs in the first round by Trae Young and the Hawks. Randle, while he showed flashes, didn't look great. But I think him and the Knicks are going to rebound. They have a ton of cap space. I think they're going to make big moves during the offseason that are going to help Julius Randle's cards going into next season. But over the last 7 days since my video dropped, his cards are actually way up. So let's take a look at the overall price movement. So it looks like Market Movers is charting 3 of his cards. Now, there aren't that many PSA 10 Julius Randle cards out there. It's really low population. But just looking at his base Prism raw card, it's up 325% over the last 7 days. His Concourse Select up 90%. His Select Courtside hasn't really moved, which to me tells me there's probably a buying opportunity right there. Anyway, guys, this video isn't about last week's video. Let's get into this week's top 5. Coming in at number 1 is Akil Baddoo. Baddoo came out of the gate red hot, homering on the first pitch that he saw of the season, then hitting a grand slam followed by a game winner this was in the first 3 games of his career, guys. Then he went into a slump, and I feel like people kind of forgot about him. But since then, he's really settled into his role. Since May 31st, he's hitting .308 with 2 homers, 8 stolen bases, and is now an everyday fixture in the Tigers lineup. Guys, he's only 22 years old, and he seems to just be getting better. Definitely someone to keep an eye on. Let's take a look at some of his cards. So right now, we're here in Market Movers, and we are looking at the 2018 Bowman Chrome Prospects PSA 10. This is his autograph card. From what I know, he doesn't have a regular Bowman Chrome. He only has this autograph. So at the beginning of the season, let's pull it back 180 days. So this was the spike during the beginning of the season when he went on that just crazy run. But what happened since then? He went into that slump, and his cards kinda dipped significantly, and they've been hovering around between $400 and $200, $163 sale back in May. But guys, he's heating up. There was a time where he wasn't playing every day. He's playing every single day now, and he's contributing to the team's success. But I think that the market has not caught on to that yet, because if you take a look right here, I mean, this was a month ago, 6/14. His PSA 10 sold for $110. Guy, that is a steal right there. And then it popped up to 300, and it's been kind of hovering around there. I think there's an opportunity here, guys. The population on this card is ultra low. It's 91. Baddoo's only 22 years old. We don't know where, ultimately if he's going to become a superstar or not, but he has that potential to go on a hot streak. And I think if he does that again, I think there could be a good rise in his cards. I'm a buy on Akil Baddoo. Next up on the list is Phil Foden, the 21-year-old soccer phenom who plays as a midfielder for Manchester City in the Premier League. Now, prior to the recent Euro Cup tournament, Foden saw a big run-up in his cards as people speculated that he could break out in a big way during the tournament. While England, his team, did make it to the championship game, Foden didn't quite have the impact that many predicted. He actually sat out the finals due to injury and didn't really get much playing time during the knockout rounds. This was puzzling for a lot of people. I mean, the announcers were constantly talking about where's Phil Foden? Why isn't he in there? Especially when England's offense just kind of wasn't really clicking. I mean, they were scoring 1 goal a game, 2 goals a game. It wasn't great. They could have used him. And he is considered one of the best players on the team. Granted, it is a stacked national team. A lot of people speculated that there was a rift between Foden and the national team's coach, which may have attributed to him being seated for the majority of the tournament, though. Moving forward, Foden is believed to be one of the hottest young prospects in the game, and right now it may actually be your last and best opportunity to get in on him before his prices really explode. Let's take a look. So Foden doesn't actually have that many rookie cards. He has a Donruss and he basically has a Optic. That's kind of really it. So when you're looking at somebody who only has 2 rookie cards, and they're incredibly low population, guys, 282 PSA 10 optics. This card, let's actually pull it back 180 days. So he had a big run up around February, got up to around $800, up, down, up, down, up, down, peaked at about $950, guys, going into the hype of the Euros. Since he didn't live up to that hype in the Euros, granted, he wasn't really given much opportunity, but when he was on the field, he did do quite well. He was in the game. He was moving around. There was a lot of excitement around his play. But a lot of sports card investors have a short-term approach and they want instant results. And they didn't get those instant results with Foden. So his prices are kind of reflecting that. And, they are steadily going down. And now that the Euros are done and the World Cup isn't, for, I believe it's coming up next year. And his league play doesn't start for a couple of months. Right now, there's a window where I believe Foden's cards may actually dip under $250. I think there's definitely a floor because the population count is so low. And whenever I've personally bought up multiple Foden cards, whenever I'm looking at the auctions, guys, there's always a ton of watchers. There's always a ton of bidders, a ton of interest in Phil Foden. A lot of people are in on him, but there's still opportunity, guys. If you can catch this card under 250, I would not hesitate. The population report is going to remain low on this card, guys. He doesn't have that many rookies. If he blows up, you are looking at massive, massive gains. Before we move on to the next pick, if you're finding this information helpful, guys, please take a moment to hit that like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you can be notified when new videos drop. Let's keep moving. Up next on the list is Randy Arozarena of the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, Randy broke out in a big way during last year's playoffs, shattering records left and right. During Tampa Bay's World Series run last season, Arozarena hit a staggering .377 with 29 hits, 10 home runs, 14 RBIs, 19 runs with an OPS of 1.219. His cards absolutely exploded during this time. This year, Arozarena has continued to be a staple of the Rays offense. While the batting numbers are down, which they kind of are across the league, Arozarena still has 79 hits, 10 home runs, 41 RBIs, and 11 stolen bases at the halfway point of the season. But here's what's really interesting, guys. The Rays are currently in first place in the AL East and looking like a serious contender. There will definitely be a spotlight on Randy come playoff time. So, as people are looking to see if he can repeat last year's performance, it may be time to get on board if you want to have skin in the game. Let's take a look at some of his graphs. So as you can see right here, he's pretty stagnant. Like there isn't literally zero movement over the past 7 days on the Randy Arozarena cards that are being tracked in Market Movers. That leads me to believe that people are his cards aren't going down. They're not going up. People are just not, they're either not selling or they're not looking for him at the moment. So let's take a peek at his. So Randy has two kind of main Topps Chrome rookie cards. He has the regular Topps Chrome rookie card, and then he has an update card. The first one that came out was this one right here, where he is in his Cardinals uniform before he headed off to Tampa Bay. The update card has him in his Tampa Bay uniform. Which one is going to be the one to lead the way? It's hard to tell because you got the one that came out first, but then you got the one that came out with his actual team jersey that matters at all. Both of them, though, really, really low pop count, guys. 280 on this, on the first Topps Chrome in his Cardinals jersey. And, this is a card. Let's pull it back 180 days. So this is a card that's definitely seen some peaks and valleys. And a lot of this is just a low pop count. When a card has a low pop count, guys, and all of a sudden there's a reason that a lot of people flock to it, you see these big spikes. That's why I'm such a believer in low population count cards, guys, especially PSA 10. So you had some sales around $200, and then we saw some dips, and now it's been steadily kind of selling around that $90 to $100 range. Some have gone a little bit lower. To me, these are probably auction sales during a time where he is a little bit cold. Maybe he's in a little bit of a slump. Not that many people are looking at him. Guys, this is why he's on this list, though, because he's heading back to the playoffs. And a big part of the narrative, I think, that's going to be talked about is, will Randy recreate the magic of last year and lead his team? Wander Franco obviously has stolen a lot of the headlines for the Tampa Bay Rays, but he's kind of gotten off to a slow start. Randy is having a good season. I think he's somebody that could absolutely explode during the second half of the season and going into the playoffs. And right now the risk is pretty low, guys. I'm in on Randy Arozarena. Next up, guys, Justin Herbert of the Los Angeles Chargers. Last year's NFL Rookie of the Year, Herbert completed 66.6% of his passes in his freshman season to go along with 4,336 yards, 31 touchdowns. He set numerous franchise and league rookie records, produced 8 300-yard passing games, and threw for at least 3 touchdowns 6 times, guys, as a rookie. He also ran for 5. Herbert was an absolute darling of the hobby during this time, and this upcoming season should be no different. Fans will be back in the stands this season on top of that, and that should only take Herbert's popularity to the next level. Guys, football is starting to heat up as the season gets closer and closer. So right now could really be your last opportunity to scoop up Herbert on the, I'm going to say, semi-cheap. So we're taking a look here. I mean, it's just green, guys. Overall, he's only up 1.46%, but when you dig a little bit deeper and you start kind of looking at individual cards, 70%, 60, 30, 20, and there are some cards that, are at 0% and this and that, but these are like PSA 9s. The downtown case hit, there probably just hasn't been that many sales. Overall, over the last 7 days, we're looking at graded cards, 133 sales. So on Justin Herbert, I believe his Prism card is going to remain a semi-low population as right now, there's 1453 of them out there. You got to assume that there's a bunch at PSA, but this card is a tough grade, guys. It's not going to get up to these Zion and Ja levels, not even close. I think it's going to settle around 3,000. Just the quality control of Panini wasn't great this past season, and so these cards, it's really, really tough to find ones in grading in top grading condition. So obviously, this card peaked around, I remember it was if you pull it back 180 days, this card was selling around $1,000 for quite some time, right after the season ended, during the season. I think it's going to get back up to those numbers as we get a little bit closer to the season and the attention shifts more to football because, right now we got the NBA Finals going on. We have Shohei Ohtani show going on. The Euros just finished, Copa America just finished. But attention is going to start shifting to football, especially as the weather starts cooling and all of that kind of thing. Right now, if you can catch this card around, the $550 mark, as looks like there was a sale on the 26th of last month for that price. Let's take a look at what people are asking for this card right now. So there's 49 of them available. Let's just take a look at buy it now, lowest price. $500, guys. Oh, well, sorry. This is a raw version that this guy just put PSA 10 in. I mean, people are asking $500 for a raw version. That's crazy. $619 is the cheapest that you can get it for right now. What I'm looking at for Herbert, actually, I've been buying up his select field level die cuts, silvers, those types of cards. I think those are insanely underpriced right now, guys. You know, I know Select came out like crazy this year, and it was the first year of retail, and they made a lot of it. But those field levels and those field level die cuts, guys, those are rare cards, and the population reports on those, once the PSA 10 start popping, are gonna be ultra low, guys. If you just compare it to quarterbacks of the past couple of seasons, they're way undervalued. So Justin Herbert is a definite buy for me. I think you cannot go wrong with this guy. Personally, what I would do is I would buy some that I'm looking to offload at the beginning of the season, right before the season starts. That's actually what I am doing. And then I'm going to hold on to some key Herbert cards because I think this guy can absolutely be a superstar. Moving on to the final guy on our list this week, Damian Lillard of the Portland Trail Blazers. Now, the reason I'm bringing up Damian Lillard of the Portland Trail Blazers is two things. One, I think he's gotten pretty undervalued. This is his Prism base card, guys, right here that we're looking at in PSA 10. Let's take it back 365 days. So this was last August during the coronavirus sports card craze. You see this card got up to around $3,000, guys. Population of 905. That's not really going to grow much as this card is from 2012. Damian Lillard has already certified his spot probably in the Hall of Fame and as a definite NBA superstar, but he's been with Portland his entire career. We'll get to that in a second. So his prices did dip down as the market, fluctuated. And it's been around $1,400, $1,500, $1,600 for the majority of the season, guys. But check out what has happened during the most recent kind of dip in the market. The card has kind of come down to, I'm going to say this is its floor right there. If you look at those sales, they're pretty much just flat right on this line around the $775, $800 mark. Guys, I think that is his floor. So right now, if you can get in on the floor, then all of this is a possibility for the upcoming season and going into next season. But what can really take Damian Lillard to the next level, just make his card absolutely explode, is if he gets traded. There's a lot of rumor, a lot of talk about that right now. He's been with Portland for close to a decade. Guys, they're not going to win a championship unless they make radical changes. It doesn't look like those changes are happening. I mean, they just haven't happened, and he's been riding with them this entire time. But now there's speculation and there's rumors that he may want out of Portland. The New York Knicks have been talked about as a possible destination. And aside from just the Knicks, which I think is the best case scenario for him, and definitely for his card prices, all of the teams that they're talking about are contending, typically big market teams: Miami, the Lakers, Boston, Chicago. If he gets traded to any of these teams, people are going to assume that Damian Lillard has a legitimate shot at winning a championship. His card prices will reflect that. He's already an ultra popular player, guys. But for this card, he doesn't even need to be traded. If he stays in Portland, commits to Portland, and just balls out like he's been doing his entire career, the card's going to probably go up anyway. As I said, guys, I think we've hit the floor. I mean, there was another, take a look. Let's go back to September. His floor was hit back then, and it kind of stayed steady around that $800 mark. And then, the NBA season started late last year, right around Christmas time. Look at what happened, guys. 1400, 1400. There's no reason to believe that this is not going to repeat itself this year in some way, shape, or form. If he gets traded, I think we're back up to these levels up here, especially if he goes to a big market team. if he doesn't get traded, I still think you're going to get that preseason, beginning of the season bump. If the Blazers make some kind of big move, big splash, I think you're going to see somewhere maybe around here, a little bit higher than just a regular bump. Either way, guys, I think Damian Lillard has hit his floor. I think he's a safe investment. I think he's a really good investment going forward. All right, guys, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, if you got something out of it, let me know in the comments how you feel about my picks. Let me know how you feel about the video. I just started this channel. I'm trying to figure it all out, but I really want to bring you guys a ton of good, informative content. So hit that like button, ring the bell, subscribe, all that good stuff that really supports the channel. I appreciate it, guys. See you next time.